ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਹੁਕਮਨਾਮਾ today is by Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj in Sorat'h Rakadi on Ang 613 of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ। ਸੋਰਠ ਮਹੱਲਾ ਪੰਜਵਾ। ਰਾਜਨ ਮਹਿ ਰਾਜਾ ਉਰਝਾਇਓ, ਮਾਨਨ ਮਹਿ ਅਭਿਮਾਨੀ, ਲੋਭਨ ਮਹਿ ਲੋਭੀ ਲੋਭਾਇਓ, ਤਿਉ ਹਰ ਰੰਗ ਰਚੇ ਗਿਆਨੀ। ਰਾਜਨ ਮਹਿ ਰਾਜਾ ਉਰਝਾਇਓ, ਮਾਨਨ ਮਹਿ ਅਭਿਮਾਨੀ, ਲੋਭਨ ਮਹਿ ਲੋਭੀ ਲੋਭਾਇਓ, ਤਿਉ ਹਰ ਰੰਗ ਰਚੇ ਗਿਆਨੀ। ਹਰ ਜਨ ਕਉ ਇਹੀ ਸੁਹਾਵੈ, ਪੇਖ ਨਿਕਟ ਕਰ ਸੇਵਾ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ, ਹਰ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਹੀ ਤ੍ਰਿਪਤਾਵੈ ਰਹਾਉ। ਅਮਲਨ ਸਿਉ ਅਮਲੀ ਲਪਟਾਇਓ, ਭੂਮਨ ਭੂਮ ਪਿਆਰੀ, ਖੀਰ ਸੰਗ ਬਾਰਿਕ ਹੈ ਲੀਨਾ, ਪ੍ਰਭ ਸੰਤ ਐਸੇ ਹਿਤਕਾਰੀ। ਵਿਦਿਆ ਮਹਿ ਵਿਦਵੰਸੀ ਰਚਿਆ, ਨੈਣ ਦੇਖ ਸੁਖ ਪਾਵਹਿ, ਜੈਸੇ ਰਸਨਾ ਸਾਧ ਲੁਭਾਨੀ, ਤਿਉ ਹਰ ਜਨ ਹਰ ਗੁਣ ਗਾਵਹਿ। ਜੈਸੀ ਭੂਖ ਤੈਸੀ ਕਾ ਪੂਰਕ, ਸਗਲ ਕਟਾ ਕਾ ਸੁਆਮੀ। ਨਾਨਕ ਪਿਆਸ ਲਗੀ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਕੀ, ਪ੍ਰਭ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਅੰਤਰ ਜਾਮੀ। ਜੈਸੀ ਭੂਖ ਤੈਸੀ ਕਾ ਪੂਰਕ, ਸਗਲ ਘਟਾ ਕਾ ਸੁਆਮੀ। ਨਾਨਕ ਪਿਆਸ ਲਗੀ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਕੀ, ਪ੍ਰਭ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਅੰਤਰ ਜਾਮੀ। Satguru Sahib, Sri Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj is blessing us today. Guru Sahib Ji Maharaj gives us many examples today to explain the love between the Lord's servant and the Lord. So Gurmukh Pyareo, Guru Sahib Ji begins, Rajan meh raja urjayo, manan meh abhimani. Rajan meh. Meh means in, Rajan means in the affairs of the government, in the affairs of the kingdom. Just as the Raja, the king, the prime minister, you could say, the president, you could say, is urjayo, is entangled, is completely woven into the workings of the government, the workings of the kingdom, the workings of the state, the workings of the country. Just as that politician, just as that head of state, just as that leader of the country is completely entangled and is always thinking about, always upon his mind, he has the thoughts of what is going to happen in the country. He has the thoughts of what is going to happen with the economy and so on and so forth. Guru Sahib Ji gives that as an example. Just as that Prime Minister, that President, that King is always thinking about and always entangled with the thoughts of government, the thoughts of the country, Manan Meh Abhimani. And just as an Abhimani, someone who wants and who is hungry for recognition of their ego, recognition of who they are and what they've made, someone who wants recognition for his own achievements, always looking out for some way of making him or herself look better, always looking out for a way to feed their ego. That person is always looking for manan, those ways of gaining that praise of the world. So just as the king is always entangled, just as the king is always thinking about affairs of the state, and just as someone who's hungry for fame, someone who's hungry for praise of their ego, to feed their own ego, is always looking for ways of achieving this. Lobban meh lobhi lobayo. Just as a lobhi, a greedy person, is a lobayo, is always thirsty, is always thirsting for, Loban is always thirsting for more ways of gaining more money or gaining more than anyone else, is always looking for those ways, always thinking upon his or her mind. They've always got this thought that I need to get more. The greed within them is a never-ending fire. Teo hara rang rache gyani. In the same way, gyani, when it comes up in Gurbani, Gyani is talking about someone who's spiritually awakened. Someone who has the gyan, someone who has the understanding, who realizes this world is finite, and who realizes that the only way to save themselves is to attach to that Vaheguru who is infinite. Teo in the same way, Guru Sahib Ji says, Har Rang, in the colour of God, Rache, completely imbued, completely day in and day out, night and day. The servant of the Lord, the one who is spiritually awakened, the Gyani, is always coloured in God's love, day and night, both. Never is there a minute. Just like the king goes to sleep at night thinking about the country, thinking about what can happen. He dreams of the country. He wakes up in the morning, the thoughts upon his head are about the country. The egotistical person is always thinking about his ego. The greedy person was always thinking about his greed, always upon their mind. In the same way, in the mind of the spiritually awakened person, there's always the thoughts about Vaheguru. There's Simran going on day and night. And Gurmukh Pyaro, many people say, how can you do Simran day and night? But Gurmukh Pyaro, even when we're asleep at night, blood is being pumped around our body. When we go to sleep, our heart doesn't go to sleep. If it would go to sleep, we would die. Our nerves don't go to sleep. In the same way, Gurmukh Pyaro, those people who meditate upon Vaheguru, the Gyanis, those people who are spiritually awakened, even at night, that pulse of Simran is pulsating throughout them. Har Janaka Ihi Suhava. This is what seems Suhava, means seems beautiful and seems right to the Harjan, to the servant of the Lord. This is what befits that servant of the Lord. This is what makes that servant of the Lord happy. Bek nikt. They always see God to be nikt, to be with them. Wherever they go, they always see their Guru to be with them at all times. Kar seva satgur. And they do seva, they serve who? The eternal Guru. They serve Lord God wherever they go. Har Kirtan hi tripatava. And where do they achieve their sense of fulfillment from? Tripatava. Where do they achieve this contentment from? Har Kirtan. Through the praise of Hari, through singing the praise of God, through reading the Guru's Bani, through chanting the Guru's Bani, through understanding the Guru's Bani, through doing vichar, through listening to Katha and the sermons of the Guru's Bani. Rahao. Pause and think about this today. Amlanasyo amli laptayo. Just as the amli, the drug addict, is laptayo, is completely addicted to amalan, cannot live without one day without those drugs, is always looking for a way of gaining more drugs. Boom mana boom pyari. Just like a landlord is always looking, and pyari loves his boom, loves his land, and is always looking for ways of gaining more land. In these same ways, Guru Sahib Ji is saying, Kheer sang barik ahlina, just as the barak, the child, is lina, is attached to kheer, to milk. Prabh Sant aise hitakari, the saints of Prabhu, of Vaheguru, have such a love for God. Just like the drug addict is always looking for more drugs, just as the landowner is always looking for more land, just as the child cannot live without the mother's milk, so that in the same way, the saint of the Lord cannot live without the Lord's name. Vidya meh bidwansi ratya, nan dekh sukh pav hai. Just like the scholar, Bidwansi is always imbued in his books. He loves his books. He loves his subject. Day in, day out, he can talk for many hours upon his subject. Nan dekh sukh pav hai. Just as our eyes find happiness in looking around and seeing all of the dekh, looking with our eyes and seeing all of the things of this world, our eyes are happy. Jaise rasna saad lubani, just as our tongue is lubani, is tasting all of these saad, these tastes of the world. Teo harjan har gun gav hai. In the same way, the harjan, the servant of the Lord, sings gav hai, the gun, the praise of Vaheguru. Just like our tongue savours every taste, just like our eyes love looking at all of these sights around us, just as the scholar is always imbued in his subject, in the same way, the servant of the Lord is always imbued with the love of God. Jaisi Pukh, Taisi ka Purak, Sagala Kata ka Swami. My Swami, my Lord and Master, is Sagala Kata. He lives within all of the hearts, each and every heart and soul. Sagala means all. And Jaisi Pukh, the hunger we have inside, Taisi ka Purak. Whatever hunger you have inside, he can purak, he can fulfill any of those hungers. And Guru Arjan Dev Ji says, Nanak pyas lagi darshan ki, Prabh milya antarjami. Sri Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj says, those people who lagi, who inside them are attached in this pyas, this thirst for darshan, through who are looking and who are thirsty for the blessed vision of the Lord, who are always doing ardas, hey Vaheguru, please unite me with you. What happens in the end? Prabh milya antarjami. They milya, they united with their Prabhu, with their Lord God, who is antarjami, who knows what is going on in each and every heart, and who knows the workings of everyone's minds, hearts and souls. So Guru Pyaro, Guru Sahib Ji has given us many different explanations today about the love of the servant of the Lord and the Lord. Jaisi bhog taisi ka purak sagal kata ka swami, Nanak pyas lagi darshan ki, Prabh milya antarjami. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.